God of War Ascension PlayStation 3 bundle is supposed to include all 6 games of the God of War franchise. All. Well, that's funny because I remember a little cell phone game, and yes, it was an official God of War game called God of War Betrayal, a 2D style hack and slash God of War game for the cell phone. But I guess that's not included, right? You know what, Sony? Fuck you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to TheReviewSpace. I want to talk about this little bundle they have for the PS3. And maybe it's GameSpot's fault for listing it the way it is, but you know, this is a false, misleading title. It's not correct. It's not accurate. It's inaccurate. It's false. They don't have all the games in this bundle, man. This thing is supposed to come out in March. You know, you basically have this red system, this red-colored, super slim version of the PS3. 500 gigs, $350. It includes a 30-day PS Plus membership in all of the God of War games, quote-unquote all. So you have both the PS2 versions, 1 and 2. You have the 2 PSP versions, Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus. And of course, the 2 PS3 games, 3 and Ascension. They don't have the fucking cell phone game, and yes, that counts. That is still officially a game. Released by Sony, licensed by Sony, and, you know, fuck it. That's part of the, franchise too, you know what I mean? Give me a break. You could have included that. God knows, I'm sure you could have had enough memory in this 500 gig system to fucking run this, or not even the system, but the disc. You know how huge Blu-rays are. I don't know. I don't know how many discs actually. It's probably gonna be around 2 or 3 discs. You know, but yeah, I mean, this little bundle that they have, they are fucking pushing God of War, man. They're treating, the thing with Sony is they think God of War is as big as Mario or fucking Call of Duty or something, but it's not, man. I love God of War, but it's really not as big as some of the other franchises out there. It's not as big as Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo fucking outsells God of War. Despite how, in my personal opinion, how shitty Gran Turismo is. You know, COD is much bigger. Halo is much bigger than God of War. So the thing with God of War is, as great as the games are, they're basically I don't want to say it's a niche audience, but it's a very mature audience. It's very fucking like, people like single player, action adventure, fantasy style games with a lot of blood and some like sexual titillation type of things. You know, it's this big epic game, but it's not, it doesn't cater to everybody. It doesn't cater to people who like open world sandboxes, third person shooters, first person shooters, RPG players, younger audiences. It doesn't cater to that massive demographic of different people. Only a certain like mature single playing action adventure type of player. So I love God of War, but it's not a huge seller. You know, it's not a big franchise. It's not as big as Zelda, not as big as Mario, not as big as COD. It's not as big as GTA. And GTA is a huge franchise. God of War sells pretty good, you know, in the millions, but it's not. It's definitely one of the bigger titles, but it's not a huge, massive crossover title, you know. But I like the fact that they have a red system. That's one thing I like. That's cool. You know, they had a red PSP back in the day, so I like it. It's very gimmicky, but nice to have the entire bundle in that series. Again, I don't know who's gonna want to buy this. $350 that's a pretty sweet deal. $350 for what, 6 games and a brand new PS3, 500 gigs. The fucking gigs just keep increasing, man. My god. How many fucking memory can you store in these consoles? And they keep getting smaller too. You know, it's like, what the fuck did we pay $100 or $300 for that 120 gig for? It's like, fuck the 120 gig then, like, what the fuck? And even the smaller ones, like 60 gig and shit like that, and 20 gig. People fucking wasted their money on those earlier models, man. You know, they just keep adding more memory, which they could have fucking done that from the jump, from the beginning, man. They just fucking whore out the memory like fucking... My god, they nickel and dime you.